Rachel from 7 and All, and today I'm going to be giving you a flip through and look inside of the Homeschool Lesson Planning Minimalist Notebook from SchoolNest. You can purchase this notebook on Amazon, and it costs about $18, I believe, which is pretty much a steal of a deal for a homeschool planner. I'll show you the back cover there a second. What drew me to this were a few things. One, the price tag. Two, the minimalist factor. I don't need to do actually a ton of planning and have a ton of different pages to write about my homeschool in, but I do enjoy some level of planning, and I like this more minimalist approach. I also like that it's 52 weeks. For those of us on a budget, as we all are, 52 weeks, if you only ended up using this when you are actively homeschooling, that can last you, almost a year and a half of homeschool, getting close to almost 2 years, if you don't mind using the same notebook for more than one school year. Some people wouldn't want to do that, but for those of us that, hey, you don't really mind using it for longer than just a 36-week school year, that could be a little nice. You get a little bit more bang for your buck that way. But I'm going to take you through, show you through the basic types of page layouts they have. Here is a summary of what is included in the planner right here, but you'll get to see it in action. It's a grid style page throughout. It begins with a couple of blank pages that you could use however you wish. You could kind of write like a big vision or some goals for the year to start off with. You could, use this as far as your imagination carries you. Then you have a calendar, and of course it's very open-ended. It's completely undated, so you can start your calendar with whatever month you want to start it with. You could use this as a traditional calendar, write in the dates for each day of the month, because they do have the grids there. Or you could, if you don't need a traditional calendar right in here, you could just write down some kind of highlight major things to be aware of that are on your calendar, some key dates from each month for you. This is for field trip record keeping. You could plan here or just keep note of your field trips as you go through the year. We have another blank page, and then we have an attendance tracker. I don't really need to or particularly care to take attendance with my 3 and 4-year-olds, but for some people and in some states where you do want to take attendance, that can come in handy. There's a place to keep track of any classes that your kids are doing. And then there are several curriculum overview pages. And of course, you could use these pages in a number of different ways. You could label each one of these labels with the subject, and then write down under here multiple resources you are planning to use for that subject. You don't have to do it that way. You could write a particular curriculum that you're using and then write down some notes or details about that. What I think I will do with it is I'm going to write down basically all the curriculum that I'm using with each son for this year. And then I can also do some future planning with saying, okay, what am I going to use for kindergarten next year? What am I going to use for first grade in the coming years? And I can kind of use these pages to do a little bit of big picture curriculum planning, because I do like to keep an eye on the next couple of years coming up. There's several pages for this, so you could do a couple different things with these pages. We then have a book list, and this could be, you could use this, see, that's a really cute design, isn't it? You could use this for books that you've read, check them off. You could have a little schedule that you've made. You could also, what I think I'll probably be doing is kind of making this more of a book wish list, jotting down books that I want to acquire in the future. I don't think I will write down books that we are reading or have read, because I think that would be within the weeks themselves. There's a curriculum progress tracker, which you can come in handy even if your curriculum does not have 180 lessons. You can just track your progress until you get to that final lesson. So you could be tracking progress in math and in a reading curriculum, or whatever curriculum you're working on, so that you could see at a glance how far you are through it. I don't think I will particularly use this a whole lot. I don't really worry about whether we're near the same place in every curriculum. At this stage and with my style of homeschool, don't need to do so much of that. but it is a handy tool. I like that there are a variety of tools in here, and not everyone is going to use each tool equally. We then have the monthly overview pages, and they are all right next to each other. There's also room on the back side of each monthly page that you can fill out with further notes or information. But you can say month of October or whatever, and you fill out the dates, and you can fill out any info that you need to know, any events. So we've got one for each month. Let's get through these. This is what your planner starts off with. Then we make it to the weekly pages, and then there will be 52 weeks of weekly pages. We have an overarching this week page with plenty of space that's labeled weekly goals and notes, like a nice space to do a checklist style thing here. You can be writing all over the place here. Lots of room. You can use this in many different ways for writing down some things you really want to make sure happen, or for writing down little memories and fun moments from the week. There's also a schedule area at this side of the pages, and I'm not going to go into my schedule right now. I'm going to do a whole video on that, so don't try to like screenshot it and understand it all right now. Stay tuned, subscribe. I'll be watching my channel for that video because you will see it. Then there are weekly planning pages. Now I set it up, you can see, so that I have the days across the top, and then I have my subjects going down along the side, the subjects that I'm tracking, and that this includes both boys. That's how I've got it set up for now. I may adjust a little bit on how I separate out the subjects that I'm tracking, and I can explain that further. Well, you can see it just works better for me right now that I have math. That's a traditional subject. But then other subjects are a little non-traditional, like sunlight, primer, which is gentle and classical primer, nature, gentle and classical nature, beautiful mundo. So, those aren't traditional subjects. Those are actual curriculums. For me right now, it's a little bit easier, makes a little more sense to track what I'm doing within the category of a certain curriculum each day as we're progressing through these studies, because there is overlap. There's overlap in Bible between primer and sunlight, and I don't mind that. I'm okay with overlap. There's going to be overlap from Beautiful Mundo, which is our Spanish curriculum. There's going to be overlap because we do Spanish to some extent in all of our subjects. So to me, this is what makes the most sense. That's not going to be the best fit for everybody, but that's how I've got it set up for now. And then we just progress with this same plan for the whole rest of the planner until you get past those 52 weeks. Let's get past those. And then here at the end, we have end of the year wrap up pages. So you don't have to think, oh man, it's just boring for the whole rest of the planner, same thing. There is a nice little surprise at the end where you have a few pages to do some reflections and thoughts on how did the year go. And you could separate this maybe by child, because there's several different end of the year pages. You could separate it by individual child. You could separate it by individual subject. A couple different ways to separate it, but that's a nice way to end it out. So that is a look into the Homeschool Lesson Planning Minimalist Notebook. A few things to note are this is a notebook, so it's not going to have all the same features as a planner. It is perfect bound. I prefer perfect bound to spiral bound. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I am very left-handed, and spirals are not so fun to write over as a left-handed person. It also, it doesn't have a super thick cover. The pages are not super thick, but I'm not going to be writing with markers in here, so I don't foresee any problem. I'm not like a super fancy, put tons of stickers and tons of markers and stuff in my planners. You couldn't do watercolor, I don't think, in this. It's definitely not that thick of paper, but I'm excited to use my very first homeschool planner this year from SchoolNest. I will leave a link to this product on Amazon down below. You can leave me any questions or leave me some of what are your favorite features in a homeschool planner, and how do you like to use one? Do you plan ahead or do you reverse plan? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!